Alright, those are Farmers Algebra 2. I have a video here. This is quick and dirty tricks with any calculator to end up solving quadratics. So, just starting with the parent function, y equals x squared. Say it asks you to find the zeros or solutions or roots of a function. Now, you can always end up getting by on using second calc and going through all the trouble of zeros, but you can also use trace, which lets you zoom around on the line of the graph. Really nice thing to have. So, page over, and what you want to do is try to find out something where y equals 0. The x value in that case would be your 0. In this case, x equals 0, y equals 0. So the solution of this function is 0. It's kind of obvious because this is y equals x squared, but another thing. You could use a bunch of things, but if you want to end up graphing this equation, this is a nice thing to have. Second graph gets you to the table here. Now I have this configured so that you can end up putting in an x value and a y value will come out. Say x equals 1, y equals 1, x equals 0, y equals 0. And then it goes on. Really quick and easy points. Don't have to plug it into the equation. It already does all the work for you. Quick time saver. So if you ever need to end up plugging in points for the graph, this is the way to do it. Alright, more of them. Say that you get some sort of S-shaped curve. There you have a nice little thing called maximum. Hopefully this next equation will like me. Alright, this is something we can deal with. Now, maximums and minimums in this are usually either vertexes, inflection points, or some other point that will help you out in the exam. So you can always trace around. And when you really don't have a b value or anything, or there's no extra a values, it's nice and simple. This is your y-intercept, and your vertex, and your inflection point, and everything else that you'll ever need to use. A lot of it you can get through trace. What you can't get through trace, you can get through second calc, 0. Let's end up finding the minimum of this function. And of course, if you can't see anything, mess with the window for a little bit. I personally like the idea of doing this in factors of 10, just to make things nice and big, make sure that you aren't really missing much. And make sure that it scales right too, otherwise you're just going to have a big old black line marking where your points are going to be. So, this is the exact same equation, just on scale. Say you get something bigger though, way bigger. You graph and it shows up all nice like and pretty. If that can be said to be applied to any math principle. So, second calc, you know the drill. Far left, enter, far right, nope, second quit, graph again, second calc, 0, any guess? This 0 would be x equals negative 6.898107, which is probably a rounded out number, and you would probably end up getting something like 2 square root of 7, or some other weird decimal like that. This thing does not do square roots. I wish it did, but it does not. Let's find out a minimum and maximum on this thing, which you find in the exact same way. Far left. Far right. Guessing minimum's way down. Because this is, again, a ridiculous function of mine. So yeah. You get desperate, use the graphing calculator. It's a really good asset to have. Find a zero, find a minimum, find a maximum. It works. And even though it's probably more accurate to use a factor or completing the square or quadratic equation, this is fast. Get good at it, get really good at it, and you have a really good resource to have. So anyway, it's good that they have this in the exam. Use it. Thank you, and goodbye.